You are a coal miner. You wake up, go into the mine and swing the pickaxe. Sometimes you might use some form of drill, and sometimes you might use explosives. But day in, day out, you gather coal in the hopes of one day leaving this mine for greener pastures. The same activities again and again. Maybe sometimes you take a break and have a very bland lunch. But then, finally, you get to yawn. You get a fresh new set of clothes and people tell you you've just moved up in the world. So full of hope, you get to work. You grab your fancy new equipment and get to work gathering the fresh new materials. But soon, the rose-tinted glasses fall off and you realize you're just in another mine. Sure, you're mining iron now, but is that really any different from working in a coal mine? After this intro, you might be asking, so what, you're done with this game? No, I play it for like an hour or two a day. I do the rapport grind, I do 2 chaos dungeons on whichever character I want to move up a tier, and maybe a guardian raid if I can stomach it. Abyss raids once a week when I feel like it, just to get the gold, and PvP occasionally for the weekly quest. And if I really feel like playing, I might do an island or some quest stuff. The saving grace of the game really is the combat, because I'm still enjoying it. But my main problem is that from the classes in the game currently, I haven't found one that I really like enough to main. I even tried to play the girl classes, specifically only the assassins, and they're pretty cool and fun, but they are missing something important for me to want to really main them. A penis. I want to be a man. I like being a man. I guess I'm just gonna have to imagine they are a really effeminate man like Jimin from BTS. And this struggle with the classes really makes me appreciate Diablo 3's classes. I wanted to play every single class there, and they were all really good. With Lost Ark, I always end up saying to myself, I don't really like this class anymore. Like the artillerist, I like his big boom booms, but man, can he feel slow. Especially when you compare him to the striker or deathblade. But he makes up for it with the shields. The striker and the deadeye were the ones I really liked, but the deadeye is just super squishy, and I find it really stupid that I have to be so close to the enemies. And with the striker, I still do like him, but honestly I just want a character with a weapon. That's the main problem, I guess. Since my last video, I really got into the engraving stuff. Engravings giving you different builds of your class is really fun, like with Deadeye becoming pistol only, or Shadowhunter disabling the demon mode. It really adds far more depth to a class and gives you more of a personal identity with your class. Ooh, the Glavier got released. Maybe I can main her. Cool moves, weapon switching that balances a buff, lots of abilities to use, and ooh, this counter ability. I like that. Yeah, this class could work. I like the spinny glaive moves and the devastating spear attacks. And PvP, highly mobile and a counter ability. I like that. Yeah, I think this will do for now, until I get a male version in 2030. Look guys, I don't like playing as a woman, it's just how I am. And I looked at the upcoming classes and it's like 2 men and 7 women and a little girl. It's just fucking lame. I want to make a character that I can identify with and I like the playstyle of. And currently, I can only choose one or the other. The Guardian raids are fucking boring. I didn't like them when I made my last video and I still don't like them. They take too long, you have to hunt down these Guardians on this big ass map and use a flare to see where they are. Otherwise, you just run around aimlessly. It's not fun. It's worse than that, it's anti-fun. The hunting down part of the Guardian raids are just annoying. They make the experience so much worse. And then you spend 6 minutes hacking away at this massive health pool that you can't see. And that feels so bad to not see how much damage you're doing to this thing. That way you don't know if you're wasting your time or not. And it would be less boring if I could actually see the progress I'm making on the Guardian. And it would feel good to see how much I'm contributing. Like coming back when you're massively outgeared and seeing yourself cut a huge chunk of health off. It would make you feel like a big boy. Instead, just hack away at this beast hoping it will die soon. Some of them have some form of mechanic, which makes it a little more interesting, but not enough that they become fun. I would much prefer they were harder, but took less time. But as it stands with Guardian raids, they are very boring in Tier 1 and 2, and the worst part about the endgame in my opinion. For the most part, all the Guardians in Tier 1 and 2 feel the same, except Dark Legoros. He is super awful because it's a huge map you have to run around in to find him. And the darkness debuff is just annoying. It's not hard, just annoying. And Tydalos sucks balls. His sand mechanic is awful and seems to work just randomly and never when I want it to. And his attack knockdown spam is infuriating and ridiculously tanky. This is such an awful boss. But I do like Aberhastic because his health is lower than the others but makes up for it by being a little harder, which makes him more fun. So the Guardian raids just need to be like good sex. Short and hard. Look, the Chaos Dungeons are just a brainless activity that works as a great set piece for how good the combat looks and feels. There's really not a lot to say about Chaos Dungeons. They're exactly the same every time and they're fun twice a day maybe, but then get very boring. There's nothing challenging here, just brainlessly bashing your head on the brick wall until it goes down. Honing. Why are bound items not just roster bound? Oh, I know, money. You get lots of items from a chaos dungeon or something and half of them are bound. That way it's less efficient to boost your alts up to your item level. Which is annoying because at a certain point, Harmony Leapstones become completely useless. What am I supposed to do with all those bound Harmony Leapstones? Destroy them or keep them in your storage, hoping that one day Smilegate will realize no one likes this, and it sucks and they make bound items roster bound. I would rather get less items and have none of them be bound. Other than that, it feels really shitty when the day's grind gets thrown in the trash because I got bad RNG. It just feels really bad that my progression is pretty much out of my control. Abyss dungeons are either fun or miserable, depending on matchmaking. If you get teammates that have a brain, it's fun. If you get someone that I can only describe as having less brain power than an actual infant, then it's miserable. Don't fucking leave an Abyss dungeon because you're having a hard time with the mechanics. Don't fucking give up and waste 30 minutes of my life because you're too memory deficient to remember your fucking position. Don't leave because you're too stupid to understand stand at position, absorb ball, move to new position to absorb different ball, rinse and repeat. You fucking waste of spunk. The shit isn't hard. Give it a little more time and pay attention. Also, hey, if you wanna see the cutscenes, you can go to youtube.com and in the search bar type Abyss Dungeon cutscenes and watch the videos there, instead of holding your party hostage in a cutscene no one cares about. Story. Ugh. Guess I have to do Rohendel again for the 9th time. God, someone shoot me. Leveling up and going through the story was the boring shit you had to suffer through to get to the good part, the end game. The intro story to the new zones are exactly the same, just a horribly, awfully boring slog swamp you have to crawl through. And of the 3 main ones in Tier 1 and 2, only Phaeton has something good. Yorn and Rohental suck and are boring, but Phaeton has that awesome demon battle and an awful stealth section, but hey, cool demon battle. Wait, no, the stealth section. The guy who decided to add stealth stuff to this game, Smilegate needs to fire him out of a cannon into the sun, because his soul should not haunt the earth. Fuck that guy. Jesus, the stealth sections in this game suck so bad, and if you fuck up on them you have to start all over again. I rarely get angry at video games anymore, but I get angry at the stealth sections in this game, because they are so unfun and horribly designed. Anyway, story sucks and I wish I could skip it for free. Skipping it costs way too much fucking gold. Jesus Christ, what's wrong with you people? If it was free, everyone would skip it because it isn't fun. The story parts in this game are unfun and the thing that would make people stop playing this game. Because of that, it should be skippable. Every time I have to do some story shit, I wanna turn my computer off and just lie in bed and do nothing. Is that what depression is? Is going through the story in the game making me depressed? PvP! Originally, when I played the PvP, I hadn't gotten used to how the PvP is in this game. And what it really is just running around looking for an opportunity to hit some stun or knock-up ability on an enemy, and if you hit one ability, you then use all your other abilities on them, and then you run away and try not to get hit until you get your cooldowns back. Some classes also have counter abilities, which make it more engaging. I'm making the PvP sound less engaging than it is. It actually can be fun to learn all your class's tools and then correctly applying them to situations. That is fun. But what isn't fun is being stun-locked. Yeah, that hasn't really gotten any better for me. I wish I could queue for all the PvP modes at the same time, or at least see which one most people play, so that the queue times would be shorter. PvP is also very grindy to get rewards. You basically need to play more than a certain percentage of the player population in order to get good XP to raise your rank. And the higher your rank, the more XP you will need to maintain that rank. You will get minus XP if you don't play enough PvP, so then you lose your rank, and therefore you won't be able to buy as many honing materials from PvP vendors, because they locked your ability to buy them behind arbitrary rank restrictions. Why not just let me buy everything and then I only have to grind the currency? But no, let's add an extra grind on top of the grind. So PvP, fun for a short while, but then just becomes more and more annoying. The islands are either okay or very boring to go through. I literally can't think of an island I liked doing, but I can immediately think of one I hate with a burning fury. Sublime Isle. There is nothing sublime about this awful hellscape of a stealth section. Fuck, it's awful. If you fuck up, then you start all over again. It was just awful. And then, to get the island token, you have to do rapport grinding. Oh, how fun. Just terrible. A lot of islands are very grindy and not fun. And then occasionally you get an island that is just a questline, and then you get the island token, which is good. Initially, the islands tapped into my completionist brain, but of the 29 or so that I have done, most of my experience was negative, and the thought of doing more is exhausting to me. And that brings me to the daily grind. Rapport and daily quests. There is no fun here. At best, you turn your brain off and do it while you watch something on your second monitor. That's the daily quests. But the rapport, that really puts the sour taste of Korean cum in my mouth. Rapport grinding isn't fun, it isn't engaging. The only reason you do it is because you need to do it to finish your adventurous book, or get a giant's heart or something like that. It's one of those things that if you removed it from the game, it would lose nothing of value and actually make the game feel better. Sure, it's less stuff to do, but is more stuff to do really good if it has nothing of real value to offer? When you finish Islands or Rapport, you just get a sense of relief. Just glad I don't have to do that again. The same goes for Makoko seeds. Conclusion. After everything I set up to this point, I can't recommend this game. It has potential, but there is so much fucking annoying stuff here that just make it a miserable experience unless you're playing very casually, which I do. But even then, when I really think about it, what am I actually excited about in this game? Of the stuff that is in the game currently and what could be in it in the future? Nothing. There is nothing I'm excited for. I can honestly think of nothing. I don't care about the story, in fact I hate going through it. Most of the good parts in this game are only kinda fun, and the fun doesn't last long. And there is usually something annoying that's weighing it down. And then there's just so much fucking content in this game that I just plain hate, like Guardian raids, story content, and pretty much all of the grinding. Not to mention the gambling progression. It's just after a month of this, I don't see any good reason why I should continue, other than that the combat is fun. But I can find other games with great combat that don't have all this annoying shit. But the problem is that they aren't MMOs. That is the only thing this game has going for it. The fact that the game is an MMO, and the MMO market right now is in such a sorry state that this game is good in comparison. People will accept all the awful shit in this game just because it is slightly better than the other MMOs out there. And even then, the social aspect of this game is terrible. You never talk to people outside an abyss dungeon, there is no reason to, except like, hey, this field boss or whatever has spawned. And the guilds are completely worthless, because they're character bound instead of roster bound. So all the guilds end up empty, because everyone is on alts, and therefore you don't make friends with your guildmates. When you join a guild, you're supposed to be joining a community, but in Lost Ark, what you're actually joining is a loose association of grinders that you will likely never talk to. Also, why the fuck does it take so long for the game to open? It's embarrassing how long it takes. Upgrade your game's engine. A Windows system update feels quicker. I will play Tier 3. Very, very casually, just to see if there's any reason to continue, and if there isn't, then I'm done with the game. With all that said, I still wake up every day thinking, you know, an hour or two of Lost Ark sounds good. And honestly, I think that's just the combat. I like it. Unfortunately, the content in the game is just not good enough for me. At least in Tier 1 and 2. Maybe Tier 3 will offer me something better. I give Lost Ark, I don't know, a Guardian raid out of like 3 Makoko seats or something. I'm just, oof, the game has really worn me down. Call me Uncle Brian and have an MMO free day.